Merhaba, bu yıl 44. İstanbul Film Festivali'nin medya sponsoru olan Film Hafızası ekibinden Hasret Özer ben. 44. İstanbul Film Festivali'nden gerçekleştirdiğimiz özel röportajımıza hoş geldiniz. Bu yıl festival Norveçli auteur yönetmen Dag Johan Haugerud'a özel bir retrospektif sunuyor. I Belong'tan Berlinale'den Altın Ayı ve FIPRESCI ödülleriyle dönen Dreams'e uzanan altı uzun metrajlı filmiyle Haugerud, özgün sinema dilini festival seyircisiyle ilk kez buluşturuyor. Hello, Dag Johan. Can I call you Dag?
Yeah, you can call me Dag.
Dag, okay, hello, Dag. And it's a pleasure to have you here at the Istanbul Film Festival, where we are celebrating your work with a special retrospective, as you know. Over the past days, we have had the opportunity to watch your films, from I Belong to most your recent trilogy, Sex, Love and Dreams. And each one opens up intimate, layered dialogues on identity, vulnerability, and complex fabric of human relationships. To begin, how was your experience been at the festival, and how did you find the audience reactions?
It has been great. I have never been to Istanbul before, so that was that's a totally new experience.
New experience,
yeah.
A little bit chaotic experience maybe for you comparing Oslo.
Yeah, but really lovely. But as I understand it, it's so big, and I had just seen a tiny part. So. Maybe next time I get the opportunity to see more. Yeah, so the festival has been really nice, I think. I have seen some other movies as well. And we don't often get the opportunity to do that because it's so much work. But now I have seen some movies. And I have had some Q&As that has been really good, I think. Great reactions from the audience, many interesting questions. And,
really? Still have some interesting questions?
Yeah,
nice.
I think so.
Nice to hear this.
And you know, some of the best question is the one I can't answer. Because then, sometimes you get questions that you need to think about before you answering them.
Yeah.
So when you are on a Q&A, you have to answer immediately. But some questions you need to, think about before answering them, and then you just keep the questions with you and keep on thinking about them, and that's good. I think that's inspiring.
It's very nice. And I would like to start with your background in literature and the library studies. And do you see the camera as an extension of your pen, because we know that you are an author, and or do you approach filmmaking as its own language?
It's really an own language, so I don't think it hasn't many similarities to literature. I think you have to think very differently, and but I think that to me the way into cinema is by the spoken language and the written language. That's what I begin with, but then I'm also very interested in finding different ways to film dialogue. That has been a big challenge, because that's not very easy, I think, to do that in a very interesting way. So it's trying to find one way to transfer the literary ideas into the visual ideas. It's a bit quite
challenging.
Yeah, it is. But that's also interesting, and it's. I think that's probably why I continue to do it as well, because then I have a very good DOP, a photographer, and we are interested in the same problems regarding filming conversation. So we work a lot trying to figure out how we can do it, how we can get further in the language.
Looking at your earlier films, just like the I Belong, Beware of Children, and The Light from the Chocolate Factory, what thematic thread connects the emotionally complex stories?
I think that's hard for me to answer, because I think I'm always trying to make the films as complex as possible. So I think they are about many different things, but I always try to start with everyday life and everyday situations, something that happens to people in an ordinary environment, and probably quite trivial as well. Because and I also want the conflict, if there is a conflict, or the action to develop through dialogue, because I think that's what we do the most.
Yeah.
Talk to each other, and that's also where the conflict lies, in the dialogue. So that's probably what connects them the most, and maybe it is a queer theme in all my films, probably. But I think it's more for the critics and for the audience to say what connects them, and to see similarities.
Right. And I would like to start with your trilogy, and you choose to begin with your trilogy with sex. Was it because it is the most direct theme to tackle, or the most complicated one? Why the first one is
why
sex?
the first one is sex? There's many reasons.
Yeah, I know that you answered this question in the interviews a lot.
Yeah, but I can tell you that I was being interviewed by a student radio in Norway right before COVID, so many years ago now. And then the journalist asked me why there was never any sex in my movies. And well, that was a question I had to think about, because I think, isn't there any sex? Well, he was right. There isn't much sex in my movies. And then I thought, maybe that is something I should do then. You know, and I took that up as a challenge, really. I thought that, okay, and then I had to write something about sex and sexuality. So that was an idea that came to me from that interview. But and then when we started on the trilogy, you know, sex in Norwegian, sex, drømmer, kjærlighet, it reads much better. It's more poetic than dreams, sex, kjærlighet, or kjærlighet. Yeah. So it's when you see it's written in writing, it looks much better. So that's why we started with sex. Yeah. But I think that probably the film that is called Love is probably more about sex than sex.
Yes, you are so right.
Yeah. And also the aim is to make 3 films that are about the same things, really, in different ways, in different perspectives on the same topics. So I think that all films is about sex, dreams, and love.
Yeah, you're right. And also, if we are just continuing on sex, in it's a bit longer questions, and if you get any lost, just let me know, please. In sex, you avoid visual dramatization, and instead build the film almost entirely through dialogue, long, even provocative, static, yet emotionally charged conversations. And what led you trust so fully in words and silence? And what kind of intimacy or discomfort were you hoping to create between the audience and the characters through this approach?
That's a good question.
I said the good one.
I thought that, you know, I think we have so much access to pictures and images and films about sexuality. Obviously, you have pornography, but you also have films with sex in it. Most films have some kind of sex in it.
Yes, I know you already mentioned that it's kind of an artificial one.
It looks a bit like
it should be natural.
It's film sex in a way. And so that is what you tend to make when you are filming or sex. And I didn't really want to do that, because I don't think that's very truthful. I don't think that people have sex in that way, really, because it's so individual, you know, how we like, what we like, how we want sex to be. So, and I don't think I can ask the actors to share that in a way, because it's so private.
Yes.
And then they end up to, you know, act out something that looks like sex. But I have to say, it is possible. I have seen films that does it really, really well, but I didn't want to do it now for this film. I think it was more interesting to see how intimate we could talk about sexuality, and if that
is how rare.
And it is rare, and it is also very hard, because it's sexuality. When you think about it, can be mind-blowing and can be wonderful, but when you are putting words to it and talk about it, it gets so gritty in a way, and also banal, and that's then it takes something off it, and I think that's that's interesting in trying to make a conversation about sex that keeps both the wonderful things about it and also talk about the physical things, how it is. I think that is interesting and also necessary.
Yes, you're right. And also in sex movie, it's all about mostly about the queerness issues, and you also spoke about with Miss Essin about the queerness. And
can I say another thing? Because I think it's so. I think it's almost more embarrassing to talk about sex than to watch sex.
Yes.
And why is it like it?
I know. I think it's the soul of this time. I think they are just saying it because so easy to hook up and one night stands via some dating apps. I think it's so easy not to connect anything and emotional connection with the people, but it's so easy to have physical connection. I think nowadays, yes, we are also as a woman, we are a lot talking about this issue between each other and why it's so easy to connect with someone very, very hardly as a romantic relationship, but it's so easy to having sex and then never connect with anyone. The day after. Yes, you are right. You are so right. And about our next question is queerness connects all three films. Yet you avoid cliches like coming out stories. And why was it important to describe queerness from a different, more relatable perspective?
I have to say I don't think that coming out stories must be cliches or told in cliches. I think that there are a lot of good coming out stories, and we need those stories as well.
Yes, we watch a lot. Maybe
we have watched it a lot, and I think that also coming out stories. It's mainly about young people. So there are young actors, and there are about discovering your sexuality. But I think that for many, there are many queer persons who are older than that and that are interested in different problems regarding queerness or different aspects of it. And then I think that is, for me, more interesting to try to figure out how we can address those things as well. Because I think that's something that isn't that much talked about, how it is to both be queer in older age and also when you have had the experience of coming out many years ago, how are you developing a life as a queer person? And also what can the rest of society learn from the queer experience? Because I think that you develop a way of living that also the queer society, that it could be interesting for them as well.
Yes, right. But I think I wrote this question especially thinking about the sex movie and the guy not admit that he's gay, and also the younger girl in Dreams never said, "No, I'm not a queer person. I'm not gay. I'm just I just fell in love with a person and same gender, and this is not the coming out stories." That's why I think I just
But that's more about sexual identity. I think that, and I think that it has been a point for me to make that it's possible to be attracted to a person of the same sex without having to take on an identity, because I think that identity isn't something you are necessarily born with. It's something you choose, and so you don't have to say that you are gay in order to have a sexual relation, but it can be very good to say it as well. So
you are right.
So I think that you have to respect all wishes, really, and
And your films rely on minimal action but rich, layered dialogues. How do you approach writing conversation that feels so natural yet loaded with emotional tension? Do you have a co-writer or writing team, maybe, or do you turn to someone you trust for feedback during the writing process?
I don't have anyone in the world.
Yes, I know.
I just write and then I send it to the producer, and he might give me some feedback, and I might, take that on, but mainly I just write it and I send it to the actors, and then we are having a conversation about it.
Yeah, you get some feedbacks from them,
the
yes,
actors, and I think that is good for me because they are the ones who are going to embody these characters, and they will probably have to understand them in order to do that. So then it's interesting to hear what they have to say. But I don't have many other readers. No.
No, because I think you are a really good author. That's why I think.
I don't know that.
Maybe you couldn't read your books because of the publishing issue in Turkey, but I assume that because I watch your movies. Anyway, would you say that sex, love, and dreams explore different states of intimacy, or are they three variations of emotional detachment? Not attachment, maybe.
No, I wouldn't say detachment. No, I would say intimacy.
Intimacy,
really.
right?
Yeah. I think they are tender, probably also quite sexy for some films. They could be, I think it's about intimacy, about tenderness, about different aspects of love, about responsibility, about caring for each other in different ways. So I wouldn't say detachment. No.
Okay, then we can just continue with this question, which is also relatable.
Do you think that it's
No, I rather not to say anything.
Now I'm interested in hearing what you think.
Yeah. I'll say that after the interview. Okay. Do you want the audience to identify with your characters, or do you prefer they observe from a distance, more like witnesses than participants?
Both.
Both, right?
Yeah.
I thought so. Anyway, and also this is really the most, I think, the important question for me, because as a Turkish citizen, and I would like to know about that. Your films carry a distinct Nordic tone, and yet their emotional core is universal. How do you think audience in different culture, especially here in Istanbul, and connect with your open, emotionally direct dialogue? I think you got some reactions,
I
as
get
I
some
know.
reactions, but you never know because there are always some people who are connect really strong to the themes, and they feel it kind of liberating to see people talk like that and be that open, and they probably wish they could have the opportunity to live like that themselves. And in Norway, you never get this, reactions because they're also used to people talking like that. So, so it's very, very different reactions from different countries. And in some places they found the movies or the films very controversial, which was a surprise
also,
for me because, so I don't really know. I think it's very individual, I think, how you react to it and how you experience it. It depends on who you are.
Yeah.
And I would also say that,
you belong, maybe.
It's even if, a culture defines you and molds you in a way, your personality, I think that people are different in all nationalities.
Yeah.
So even if you are Turkish, born in Turkey, you can also feel that you are a bit more like a Scandinavian person. And if you are Norwegian, you can feel very at home in Turkey as well. I think we should, acknowledge that.
It's nice to hear this. And across your body of work, is there a theme or emotion you find yourself returning to, consciously or not?
A theme or it must not consciously.
Okay.
Well, I like to see, I think probably like to write characters that are feeling misunderstood in life. And I think that some of the characters are quite naive, maybe, in their openness.
Yes.
Because they trust other people and they feel they can say whatever they want, and then when they do that, it isn't really like that. You can't really say just what you want because people react differently. So I don't know. I don't think that was a very good answer to your question, but
no problem. We will see, I think, in your future works. Yeah. And lastly, I would like to ask about the festival process again. And have you had the chance to watch any Turkish films during the festival? And more broadly, and how do you view Turkish cinema, its tone, rhythm, or cinematic language from your perspective as a filmmaker and director?
I must admit I haven't seen many Turkish films, so that must be. I think I've heard more Turkish music than
music. Okay.
than watched Turkish films. But like yesterday I saw Hysteria. That's a German film, really, even if it's made by a Turkish German
director, the Mehmet Akif Büyük Atalay as a director. And last but not least, and are there any Turkish directors, past or present, and whose work you follow closely or feel connected to in terms of cinematic language? In general, I'm just asking, not only in the festival process.
Yeah. I must pass on that one as well. There is a film called Winter Sleep, I think.
Yes, Nuri Bilge Ceylan. Yes, it's a very unique and amazing one. Just won the Cannes.
Yeah, and I have seen other films by him as well, but I can't pronounce his name. So.
Director name Nuri Bilge Ceylan. Yes. Thank you so much for this thoughtful conversation, and we are very, very happy to host your films here in Istanbul, and hope to see more of your storytelling in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was kind.
Thank you so much again, and a very inspiring conversation for us as a film hafızası, and we are just hoping you host you again, because it's very how can I say, it's very nice to know you thanks to this festival, because lots of the Turkish cinephiles didn't know about you and that's why it's really big opportunity to know you, and that's why we are so happy.
Thank you. It's nice for me as well.
You're welcome.